So we will start our setup on the organization page underneath the admin tab. Now, once we get to this page, you'll see that there are a bunch of tabs along the top. The idea with this is that we will go and set up details on each tab. So on this tab, we have details such as site name, bank account, contact person, which will allow the parent to get in touch with someone if there's an emergency. If we go further down the page, we have school information. Now, this is the site that the school is run at. If there is no site that the school is run at, you can set it as unknown. And then we have other details here. Most of this information that is inputted here is purely for the fact of record keeping. It doesn't actually pull anywhere else. So for instance, all this lease information doesn't pull anywhere. And you can see, if you hover over the info text, it actually says at the top, these details are for the sake of record keeping. Same with franchise information. If you have a franchise or own a franchise license, and then we have Oscar information. So this will actually pull through later on for the WIN subsidy features. So once we're happy with the setup on this page, we will click Save and go to the Payment Options tab. So here we can actually set up a bunch of different features regarding payment options. So the first one is late fees. Now, if you charge parents for dropping children off early or picking children up late, you can actually set what the threshold is to start charging here. So we have 10 minutes early drop off, 10 minutes late pickup, it'll start charging, and we've set it as charging at a rate of $1 per minute. Now, if you don't want to charge parents, it won't automatically charge them here. All it will do is it will drop into a feature later on for you to actually confirm these charges. But I suppose if you don't want to charge parents, you don't have to. Once you're happy with these settings, you can go ahead and click Save. The next section is a Payment Methods tab. Here you are able to enter all the ways that you actually offer payment from parents. So here we have bank transfer, FPOS, and cash, and also instructions on the right hand side here. So description for bank transfer, for instance, will be please make transfers into provided account with a reference of child's full name. So if we click Add Payment Method, we can actually see the different payment methods offered, and we can actually give descriptions allowing parents to receive instruction straight from their parent portal. Awesome. And then underneath we have disabled credit card payment method. Now this is a link that we have with eWay. Now for the eWay setup, it will eWay is our credit card payment portal. So if you decide to set up with eWay, they will actually allow parents to pay straight from Aimy Plus. Now there is a plan which allows you to use the facility completely free of charge to you and just charge parents a certain percentage surcharge on top of their booking. So I think it's sitting at about 3.4%, and it may fluctuate in terms of the percentage, but you can definitely use that feature free of charge. Now, the reason we have the disabled credit card payment method checkbox here is up until the point that has been set up completely, parents, when they try to pay by credit card, will be given an error message saying that they can't pay via this method because it's not set up. If you would like to offer this to parents and you are in the process of setting it up and not yet set up, we recommend ticking this one up to a point until that you are ready to take those payments through the portal and up until the point that you have this set up. Reason being is you just don't want parents to receive an error message if they don't have to see the ability to pay via credit card at all. So once we've selected that, usually you will be able to come back to here later and untick this disabled credit card payment method once it's all been set up, and then you can start taking those credit card payments from parents. Once we're happy with this, we will go ahead and click Save. Now we will go down to the invoice frequency billing period. This allows you to offer different payment frequencies to parents. So whatever you select here will be what a parent will be offered. We have selected all of the payment frequencies, and it means that a parent will be offered all of them. If, for instance, we only wanted to offer parents the ability to receive fortnightly and monthly invoices, we would leave it like this, and then that way when they come to pay, they will be offered how would you like to receive your invoices, and then they would just select one of the two options. So I suppose this is totally dependent on how you want the invoices being generated for your Aimy Plus portal, but it's very common to have all of them ticked. Once you've selected those options for parents, you can go ahead and click Save. Now, this feature allows us to completely set when invoices are created and when invoices are due. So here we have invoice date. This will almost always be the date the invoice is created. We do have an option for beginning of the term if you do a whole term's invoices at once, but almost always the date the invoice is created, it will be the default setting there. Then we have select when you want to generate the invoices. So this will actually allow you to work out when you want Aimy to start generating. So the way we set it is we've actually done ours in advance. So 4 weeks in advance is when the invoice will be generated, and it will be generated on the Monday of that week. Say for instance you invoice after the fact in arrears, and you actually want it to invoice, for instance, the Friday of the current week. So once a booking has been done, you want, or a week has been completed on site, you want it to then invoice on the Friday. In that case, you would just go current week, Friday, and you're able to give full flexibility around when you want the invoices to generate. Same with the invoice due date setting. So for instance, if here we have it for 3 weeks before on a Tuesday. Say for instance, we are going to go with the whole current week Friday scenario and invoice in arrears. We will then choose 1 week after, and I'll choose Friday, purely based on the fact that it will then calculate the due date as being 1 week after the generate date. And then the calculate based on will work out when it's going to calculate the week for the invoice. So where this comes to play is not so much when you have a weekly invoice, because when you have a weekly invoice, 1 week after will be just the week after the booking. But say for instance you have a term's worth of bookings in one invoice. Now Aimy needs to work out which week will be the week that this will count from. So you could do the start date, so 1 week after the start of term on a Friday, it can calculate then. Or end date is 1 week after the end of the term on a Friday. If you have to view a sample of what this will look like, you can click on the view sample button, and you will be able to see that if we select a term 1 holiday, or term 2, and we have a weekly, you'll be able to see how it will generate. And as you change the frequency, you'll be able to actually see how the different invoices will differ in terms of the start date, end date, generate date, and due date. Now, one thing to note is that with these invoices, the first invoice will always generate immediately. So we set it up like that all of these invoices 2 through 11 will follow the generate rule set here, but the first one always generates immediately so that a parent knows that the booking was successful and they can see their first invoice for the start of the program. Once you're happy with these settings, you can go ahead and click Save. Now under here we have invoice reference settings. So this will allow you to see what pulls through to parents. This will allow you to edit what pulls through for the invoice reference. So here we have child first name. Say for instance we actually wanted the child full name. All it would take is to drag that in there. And then say for instance you wanted the term name and the program category. You are able to drag those all in there just like that. And it will then show on the invoice in Xero with these settings. Now, if you enter these, you'll see that they sit back to back. Now, there's actually going to be no formatting between them, which means that they may all blur into one line if you don't put punctuation between them. So, for instance, we have child full name, and if we don't want that to the word to merge with the term name, we will put some punctuation in there, just to ensure that when it shows on the invoice it's clear to read and that the different tags are separated on that invoice reference. Once we're happy with this, we will go ahead and click the Save button. Alright, the next tab is the Payment Gateway tab. So this will actually be the, once you set up with eWay, our credit card facility, this is where you'll enter those details. The API key and the password, and then this will actually allow you to take credit card payments in Aimy. Once this is set up, you will again want to go back into this setting here, disable credit card payment method, and uncheck it so that parents are able to use the facility. Awesome. If we go to the messaging tab now, you'll see that we have a bunch of settings. The first one is allow following communications, so message by SMS. This allows you to toggle on and off the ability to send text messages from Aimy Plus. Now, Aimy Plus has its own SMS engine, which will send out text messages to parents or to staff members. Now, there are a couple of instances where this will be used. It will be used on site when children are unaccounted for. There is the ability to quickly send messages to parents, letting them know that their children are unaccounted for and asking them to inform you of the whereabouts. So that's a feature that will actually make it easier for you to keep track on where unaccounted children are, if they're actually going to be at the program, if they're not going to be at the program today, and keep informed from parents as to whether or not they will actually turn up. The other instance you can use it is in our messaging tool. We have a bulk messaging tool in Aimy Plus that allows you to send bulk emails to parents and bulk messages to a parent's portal, Aimy Plus portal, but also it allows you to send SMS messages. So you have the ability through there to send SMS messages as well. Now, the text messages from Aimy cost 20 cents each, and usually it doesn't accumulate that fast, that it doesn't add up that quickly, but if you find that it is costly, you do have the ability to uncheck this. They're great features, it's worth trying out, but I mean, we will be sending monthly invoices for the usage of this SMS feature. If after a month you find it's too much to use, you can always uncheck it, but using this or enabling this ability to text is totally up to you. And then we have a site notification setting. So this is a reminder for overdue payments, is the reminder we have set at the moment. We have the ability to enable overdue payment reminder. The first one we can set at 3 days from overdue date, 7 or 14. So say for instance we want to send 3, we can actually set it so that a parent is reminded 3 times when their payment's overdue. Say you don't want to bug parents, you can actually change it so that the first reminder will go 7 days out and the second reminder will go 14 days out. And that's just a way for you to automatically, for Aimy Plus to automatically follow up on overdue payments without you having to do anything yourself. Alright, and we'll just click Save for that one, and then move across to tablet settings. Now we have a master PIN here. This is what will be used on site for accessing confidential information of parents and children, such as contact details, medical information, unauthorized pickups, those sort of details. Also, the ability to add an authorized pickup will need this master PIN. Now, everyone on site, every staff member on site should have the knowledge of this master PIN, just so that they're able to carry out these functions. So whatever you enter as your master PIN here, you will need to inform your staff members so that they actually have the ability to, for instance, add authorized pickups to the system when need be. Alright, and then we have underneath authorized pickup photo enabled, child photo enabled, staff photo enabled. Now these are 3 checkboxes allowing you to enable or disable whether photos show up on site. We recommend that you keep them enabled just because it adds a layer of security, and the only reason you would actually disable it is if your Aimy Plus was being particularly slow because you had slow internet connection and it was just unmanageable to use. Now, that's hardly ever the case. If you find, for instance, that your internet's very slow, you can actually start disabling some of these photos. We recommend that you always have authorized pickup photo enabled, just because you'll know the children that are on site mostly, but some of the authorized pickups, you will actually like to have their photos on file, just as a layer of security and precaution. And then lastly on this page, we have the flag new child for the number of visits. So what this will do is it will notify on site with a little tag saying how many times this child has attended this program. So you can set the maximum number that it will go up to. So for instance, now it's set up at 7, and I believe 7 is the max for this, which means that as it's set now, for the first 7 times a child attends the site, it will actually show up with a little tag beside their name saying first visit, second visit, third, all the way through to 7th. If, for instance, you think that's a little bit excessive, you can actually set it, say, for instance, at 3. So for the first 3 times that a child's new on site, it will actually say first visit, second visit, third visit. And the purpose for this is just for your staff to know which children are new and to help them adjust to the new environment more easily. And then the last tab would be booking info. If you have enabled customized booking as unchecked, essentially the only way a parent will be able to book is by predefined templates that you set up. So for instance, if you set up a template for after school, full time, 3 to 6 for the whole term, if you set that up as a template and you disable customized booking, it means parents will have to book into one of your templates or they can't make a booking. The enable customized booking allows a parent to come to a term and based on the sessions that you set up, so say for instance after school care, before school care, they want after school care on this day, before school care on that day, after school care on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. They're given the flexibility to book in the future any days they want based on what you're offering. So for instance, if you offer 3 after school sessions, they're actually able to choose between them, drag and drop to completely customize their booking for the future. Whereas the opposite would just be a template booking. You will have to set that up. So for instance, before school care with breakfast full time will be a template, and they could only book into that full time. They wouldn't be able to remove days, etc., etc. We recommend you enable customized bookings just because it gives parents the ability to book into which days they want, and also be able to exclude days that they don't want booked in the future. All right, and then we come to the booking type pop-up. So Aimy Plus offers different booking types, so a regular booking and a casual booking. We know people define this in different ways, but essentially all that Aimy calculates is different prices for a regular and a casual. Here you actually are able to give parents your definition of what a regular or casual booking is. All right, and then once you're happy with that description, you can hit save. So here we have the booking info section. So we have term, holiday, and special day booking info. Now, you have the ability to enter text here, and this text, once you click make visible in the top right corner, will then show when a parent comes to make a booking. So for instance, if a parent makes a term booking, this text here will show at the top of the booking. So you can actually communicate here anything that you want to parents to know, any clauses, special deals, letting them know that you have a second child discount, those sort of things. Anything that you want to communicate to a parent about this booking or about this program, you can do that here. And again, once you click make visible and the save button, it will then show live for parents when they come to make a booking. And that covers everything underneath the admin organization page.